What it is, your man and I, back in the building for another episode of the 90s with N.I. N.I., that's me, Nigel Sedin. N.I. is the first two letters of my name. Okay, that's why they call me N.I. Okay. Now that we got that established, let's get into the 90s. Today I'm hitting you with another part to the long list of illustrious albums that we've been talking about. I'm talking about the best soundtracks of the 90s. Basically extinct right now. Like, I don't see movies coming out with soundtracks anymore. But in the 90s, whatever movie came out, the soundtrack was just as good as the movie, if not better. If you seen the movie and you didn't hear the soundtrack, you basically was like, who cares? You had to have the soundtrack. You probably was more popular for having the soundtrack than watching the actual movie. You had to have the soundtrack. So every good movie that came out, you had to have the soundtrack. So these are the best soundtracks of the 90s. First up, I'm talking about the Mo Money soundtrack. Mo Money was a Minneapolis classic. That's a lot to say in one word. The reason that it's a Minneapolis classic is because Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis produced this whole album. They just basically just put their foot and their arms in it and just constructed a Mo Money gumbo that basically was the background to the whole movie. When I hear certain songs on the album, it just makes me think of certain scenes in the movie. One of my favorite Ralph Tresvant songs ever with Money Can't Buy You Love. You know, they had to put the Hometown Heroes on there. Mint Condition was on there going crazy. Another Minneapolis legend was on the album, Sounds of Blackness. Now, this movie was released in 1992, basically clinching the 90s era for that time. Damon Wayans did his thing in the movie, very popular movie, and the soundtrack was just as popular. Janet Jackson was on it, Luther Vandross, Belle Biv DeVoe, all of them on one track. That's crazy. Public Enemy was on the album, Color Me Bad was on the album, all legends for the 90s, from the early 90s, definitely like the classic 90s sound. It was just a crazy album. Rest in peace to the legend, Jelly Bean Johnson. He had some writing credits on the album. He actually showed me the actual Mo Money Platinum album when I got to interview him. So big shout out to Jelly Bean Johnson, and big shout out to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis for keeping the city intact with that Mo Money soundtrack. 1992, one of the best soundtracks of the 90s. The next one that I'm gonna say, probably one of the most underrated soundtracks in the history of soundtracks. I'm talking about Jason's Lyric. This came out in September of 1994, hit the world by storm. Jada Pinkett doing her thing in the movie, and the soundtrack was crazy. Al B. Sure was on the album, Intro was on the album, After 7 was on the album, Boys to Men was on the album. I mean, it just went crazy. Ice-T, H-Town. This was a legendary album to me because, once again, it has such Minneapolis strong ties. Mint Condition was on the album, that If Trouble Was Money. And then Jamesia Bennett breaks away from Sounds of Blackness and comes out with one of her most popular songs, Rodeo Style. I mean, Scarface was on the album. When you heard Scarface on the soundtrack, LL Cool J, D'Angelo, Brian McKnight. I mean, it was just filled with nothing but bangers, nothing but superstars. And the album was just as popular as the movie. Jason's Lyric, just putting their mark down in stone for the soundtracks of the 90s. Big shout out to Jason's Lyric. Next up, one of the biggest soundtracks during this era, 95, 96 era. I'm talking about Dangerous Minds. If you didn't have this soundtrack back in 1995, you didn't even watch movies or pay attention to soundtracks. Dangerous Minds was released in the summer of 1995 and just went crazy due to the hit single, Coolio, Gangsta's Paradise. I'm not really a big Immature fan, but if I listen to Immature, it would be the one song on the Dangerous Minds soundtrack. It's called Feel the Funk. Big shout out to Big Mike. I did a video on Big Mike with that Having Things. They put that on the Dangerous Minds soundtrack. Great promotion for Big Mike. Just another young nigga having things, man. They had a sleeper on there, Gin and Juice, performed by Devontae from Jodeci, and rest in peace, Static Major, legendary joint on that album. Like, I don't know where I would put this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever like that as far as the album, but the impact that it had back then, the way that it hit the streets, the way that it was on every channel, the movie itself and the album, it was just crazy for that period of time. Dangerous Minds definitely left the impact and changed history for soundtracks in the 90s. All right, the next one's probably the most sleeper. A lot of people, like, the only way you even know about this soundtrack is if you was in the 90s listening to 90s music. There is no other way you would even know about this album. One of the best soundtracks, really. It's such a sleeper, it's crazy. Such a sleeper. I'm talking about the High School High soundtrack.
Okay, everybody, let's go back to dancing.
Let me just go down the list of how monumental. Now, remind you, this is like a comedy, kind of a making fun of all the other movies type of a movie. It wasn't a blockbuster movie. The soundtrack to have this much stuff on it, you would think it's a blockbuster crazy movie. The soundtrack was just crazy. Let me read. I wanted to get it right so I don't miss anything here. Okay, we had Tony Braxton's and them was on the album. Okay, Changing Faces was crazy in the 90s. They was on the album. One of my favorite songs from Wu-Tang Clan. I mean, this song is crazy. It's what was it called? They was talking about the Wu wear. It was called Wu wear. Renaissance garment Renaissance.
And stop wearing Benetton. Tommy Hill, Perry, Ellis, Nordic, Liz Claiborne.
Method Man, Capadonna, RZA was on that joint. That's one of my favorite Wu-Tang songs. That beat so crazy.
Here's what you need, baby.
Faith Evans had a joint on there. D'Angelo and Erykah Badu had a joint. Like, when did Erykah Badu and D'Angelo came crazy with it? Lil' Kim, this Lil' Kim song was, I'm not a super Lil' Kim fan. I'm going through Lil' Kim's catalog. This song right here is one of Lil' Kim's best songs, if not the best. I'm gonna just say it. Her best song ever that I've ever heard from Lil' Kim was on that album, that Queen Bitch.
Got buffoons eating my pussy while I watch cartoons. Sleep till noon.
One of my favorite Spice One was on the joint with the Click. E40 and the Click was on the joint. I mean, we had De La Soul on the album. KRS One was on the album. Tribe Called Quest. Jodeci was on the album. I mean, this is just one after another. Sadat X, Grand Poobah, Scarface. I mean, The Roots.
Get fly on immature MCs who try. Wake them up out of their high school high. Yo.
Like, do we have to keep going on? I would probably say this is probably one of the best, if not number one, number two. I don't know. I mean, Above the Rim was crazy. We discussed that before. But like, this is this is kicking the door down. Like, hold on. I'm one of the best soundtracks of the 90s too. Crazy, like, that's just crazy. The movie was all right. It was a cool little chuckle. You know, smoke some Chiva and, you know, get the munchies and watch that movie. But that soundtrack was legendary. The High School High soundtrack. And I'm gonna go listen to that High School High soundtrack right now, to be honest with you. All right, that's what it is. That's what it is. Another episode of the 90s with N.I. There's a lot of soundtracks. I really haven't even touched on a lot of the soundtracks. Remind me or tell me what your favorite soundtrack is in the comments below so we can add that to the next list. All right, it's the 90s with N.I. Make sure you add, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, research everything. It's the 90s with N.I.